In earlier videos, we looked at getting data from within Excel and getting data from within Power Pivot, sorry. We've brought in text files and we've brought in a database. Now I'm going to look at getting data, and these are from various, in fact, 7 Excel files. What I want to do first of all is I just want to save what I've done with this file called Northwind Traders. So I'm just going to save that button there, or Control S, and then this button will switch me back to Excel. And I'm just going to create a new file. So I'm going to go Control N and move this into view. This new file, I'd like to save it as, so F12, and I'd like to save it as Galloping Gourmets, just as an Excel workbook. And I'll click Save. And I might just turn my autosave off. Okay. Now I want to get data. I'm not going to get data from within Power Pivot this time. I'm going to get data using the Data tab in Excel. And I'm going to use the Get Data button, and I'm going to say from File and from Excel Workbook. Now here I want to click Categories, and I want to import categories. And I'm just going to load it. Let me just bring this into view first. I'm going to click on Categories because it lists the sheet and it lists the table. So there's a sheet called Categories in this file, and there's a table called Categories 1 in this file. I'm actually going to choose the sheet called Categories, and there's a preview there, and I'm just going to load it straight into Excel, which makes a sheet at the bottom of my screen called Categories and establishes a query connection for that particular spreadsheet. So now I'm going to repeat steps 3 to 5 and bring in employees, order details, etc. So I'm just going to go Data, Get Data, from File, Excel Workbook, and bring in customers. I'll choose Customers and I'll choose Load. Data, Get Data, from File, Excel Workbook, and I'm choosing Employees and Import. I'll choose Employees and I'll load. Data, Get Data, from File, from Excel Workbook, Order Details, Import, Order Details, Load. Data, Get Data, from File, from Excel Workbook, Orders, Import, and Orders, and Load. Data, Get Data, from File, from Excel Workbook, Products, Import, Products, and Load. Data, Get Data, from File, from Workbook, Shippers, Import, and Shippers, and Load. Lastly, I'll grab Data, Get Data, from File, from Workbook, and Suppliers, Import, choose Suppliers, and Load. So I've brought in a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spreadsheets, or 8 spreadsheets. So we end up with 8 sheets at the bottom of my screen if I just look down here. Also, if I right click these triangles, I can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that 9th one was already there, so I can go to sheet 1, okay, and I could actually delete that, right click and delete sheet 1. And so I've got 8 sheets, which is the 8 spreadsheets that I brought in. So we've imported the data, but what we learned in an earlier video is we now have to add each of those sheets to our data model. So I'm going to start with the first sheet. Let me just go back to the first sheet, Suppliers, and I'm going to go to my Data tab, and I'm going to add it, Power Pivot, I'm going to add it to my data model. So you click this button. That's added it, and I'll switch back. Suppliers done. Let's do Shippers, add to data model, switch back. Products, add to data model, switch back. Orders, add to data model, switch back. Order details, add to data model, switch back. Employees, add to data model, switch back. Customers, add to data model, switch back. And in categories, add to data model, and switch back. So we've got now, if I actually go to my Manage button, I can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tables or tabs showing in my Power Pivot editor. And I want to save the file. So I can hit this save button here or Control S, or I can go back to Excel and save it there with Control S. Basically, we've brought in now some CSV files in an earlier video, we've brought in a database in an earlier video, and now we've brought in Excel files. And we've used the import using data in Excel, but we've also used the get external data option within Power Pivot to bring data in. So I hope getting data into Power Pivot and into Excel and adding it to the data model is clear. So I'm just going to go save and switch back to the workbook.